All right, everyone, welcome along. So we're going to do something different now, aren't we? What we looked at, or what we're going to look at, is the concept of single pane of glass reporting. And this is going to take a number of weeks. And what I thought we would do for single pane of glass reporting was look at our New York data sets. Because this is one of those things that for real world clients that we have, it's really difficult for you to get their head around just what it means, how it's done, because traditional reporting solutions or legacy reporting solutions, whatever you want to call them, they just don't work that way. What we have with Power BI is we've got the capability of bringing everything together and surfacing it up to a reporting plane. That's what we mean when we talk about the single pane of glass reporting. So the pane of glass is your reporting plane. So we have a report plane that cuts through multiple layers below in the business and brings it all up and together. Now, there's so much topic in this. What I'm going to do with this first one is have a nice, simple video, really looking at kind of the basics and the essence of what it is that we're doing. And then we'll start going into the detail within it, because there's going to be lots to unpack. And with each of the subcomponents, there's more going on with it. So we'll cut on over to a whiteboard and we'll see what we can do in terms of explaining what the plan is. We've got here this idea of having like a nice simple single pane of glass reporting. Okay, so what we're going to have is say report plane. Okay, we've got two squares here. Why have we got two? Okay, because what we might do is have management, and then we might have ops or operations. Ops. Okay, because this is a key topic as well for us, that you've got that we get to this point, or this idea that one area is going to have a particular way that they want to view it, in a particular context as well that they want to view data from versus another. So our senior leadership team will want very high level KPI driven metrics based reporting, whereas our operational team potentially is, well, what's currently on the plate, what's currently going on. And the two shouldn't really mix, because the last thing I want is, and it's not because I want to hide it, but the last thing we want for a business is a CEO, for example, looking and seeing, the factory are 4 orders late and shipping them out. That doesn't drive productivity. That, in fact, erodes strategic thinking, because you're forcing people who should be strategic in their thought process to think operationally. Likewise, operationally, it's nice to know business is going in the right direction, but you want them to be more aware of the minutiae than focusing on the strategic. So we keep the two separate, or it's nice to think of the two as separate. What we're going to have within there, though, is, and I apologize for these are not looking the best. I should probably have found a better way of putting these in. We're going to have these 3 data sets that are going to feed into them, okay? So we've got our taxis, we've got our water, and last but not least, we've now got bikes. Okay, so 3 data sets. And what would happen in a traditional solution is you'd kind of have, well, we've got the taxi data, we have a vertical data set with a vertical integration with it, where then management reports would come out from the top of it, potentially operational reports would come out from the top of it. That's great. We'd do the same with the water, right? And then somebody would get 3 reports that have to look through. That becomes problematic. Is there interplay? How does it all interact together? So invariably then somebody starts to input stuff into an Excel spreadsheet elsewhere that then leads to a more delayed revision cycle. What we can do here, though, is we can have taxis going straight up into a management report, pane, or layer, or workspace, right? Water and bikes. We can also have bikes, water, and taxis going up to the ops side. Okay, so we actually suddenly get the point, oh, hang on, these data sets, this report pack, everything, all goes to the same place or to different places, but it does it in such a way that all my teams need to go for, my report consumers, is one place. Okay, so if we get to this idea of saying, right, we're going to have workspaces based around the data, which is one of the things we've really championed, is the idea of having like a data flow workspace, so kind of a data ingestion workspace for those that are coming through in Power BI. If it's not coming from Power BI, potentially you wouldn't do that. Well, you wouldn't, I'll say that, you wouldn't do that. And then you have like these semantic layer workspaces, semantic model workspaces, where it comes in. And this is to do with when you start to structure it. So if we, let's tell you what, let's move this a bit. So further down here, let's say just here, we've got data coming through, yeah? Oh, lovely shapes. Okay. So data, model, report. Okay. The idea is, or the point is that kind of report, this is like analyst territory, data, that's engineers territory. Yeah. Everyone kind of gets the point going, okay, reset, this makes sense to me. There's kind of this goes down, this goes up, okay? And the twain or the two kind of meet in the model space. So you end up with this model arena, as well as having your engineering area and your consumption area. That's why I recommend the three, thinking about it in three distinct layers, because your teams and your functions will be in three distinct layers. You might only have one person doing the whole thing, right? That might be true. But by thinking about it in those three layers, it encourages the documentation to be correct. That encourages everything to go correctly and to be considered correctly. You also want different access layers to it, or different routes of access into it. So because you've got your model space, yeah, up at the top, or sorry, your report layer up at the top, because those are touching semantic models, effectively people have to have access to that. So you have to give access. That access, especially if you want to push and say, well, we want to have like dynamic querying, want to have people that are able to actually interrogate the data themselves, they have read access to it, and it's what's called build as well. Okay, don't worry about build. Build is like you can use it. Basically says you can use as opposed to just I can read. Okay, so I can use it to build insights of my own. If people are doing that, you kind of want to be able to, it's an access layer you need to think about. So you start thinking about through the access layers, because your model ends up having to have people with data engineering access to it, as well as analysts having access to it. And then you don't want to have all that and where your data is modeled as well. Okay, it's three layers, works really well. The whole point of this as well is we're bringing everything together as a standardized approach. So very much I can then start to look and consider each of these separately with their own continual improvement cycle to them. So we can turn and say, right, we're going to upgrade bikes, we're going to upgrade water, we're going to upgrade taxi. And we can choose to do that. It might be down at the data engineering side. So we're going to update our data model somehow, something's changed, we need to do that. And that then feeds through. We can process and think through that. This is a structure that will work for that, and it will do all that. So that's the core piece. That's the plan that we're going to go through. Okay, it probably is going to take us, honestly, probably 10 weeks or so to go through everything. But I think when we bring this in terms of what Power BI will do for you, the benefits you'll get from it, I think you'll see what we mean. All right, so here we are in Power BI. Okay. So what we've got very nicely here is we've got the bike data is coming through. It's all coming through. It's all fine. What we're going to do as well, though, is we're going to look and probably expand and extend the dates that it's got coming in at the moment. So what I want to do is get to a point where we've got 5 years for everything. The limiter, or what will decide it, will be the taxi data set. I'll be honest, because what we're going to do is do some different things with this. So this data flow in New York City, this is going to be with the bikes, and we're going to use the modern data flows that they've got. So it's this modern analytics engine side you can use for large data storage areas. But what you can do is you can direct query the table. So we will be running a direct query against this bike report data. So you'll see we'll have hundreds of millions of rows. Moment we've got 4 years of data in, we're running at 3.5 years of data, 190 million rows of data. And it means that we can, by doing this, our model, so our Power BI file size will be like maybe 10 meg, okay? Because the main table of data, the main fact table that you've got isn't in the table. It stays in this Power BI service, it stays as this data flow, and it's just queried, okay? But there are some peculiarities about that. So I want to go through, we'll discuss those and give you a chance to see it. On top of that, we've got here our New York water tower data set. So this is, I'm looking at some interesting things coming on with this at the moment. So our inspections seem to be right down for 2024. Okay, but it'd be nice to be able to start to compare that. And you can see we've broken all this down by borough. Okay, and I think borough is going to be our right management unit that we would look at. And then presumably our operational teams will be looking at very much within my borough what's going on. But the mayor of New York kind of thing, it's terrible accent, Ross, would look at the whole piece, how are all my boroughs doing. Okay, so we can kind of get that idea of management and operational this way. There are some nice things that we're going to do because this has text validation steps in it. So similar to a lot of ERP systems that we've worked with, people have manually entered things like customer name or something else, and you end up with multiple records for it. But when you want to actually understand, well, what's this customer done, you've got to somehow link those. Invariably, that means somebody's got an Excel spreadsheet somewhere. And for our first pass at this has got an Excel spreadsheet doing it. What I want to do is let's push this into the Power Platform as a whole. We can use Power Automate to actually start to populate a SharePoint list, which is ideal for this. We can then use Power Apps to say, right, we're going to link these together, and then people can review, manage, update, do that whole piece. Okay. So this would be brilliant for that. And then, of course, we're going to be able to pull this together, have a nice dashboard, have a proper view so we can see what's going on across my boroughs. Taxi-wise, okay, this is in some ways, this is going to be the most challenging one and the most fun one to do. So the point of taxis was always, how far can we push a single pro subscription? Okay, and this is where, so we'll be able to compare the bike side with taxis. So pro versus premium per user. This is a very common use case that I have with clients. We want to bring in lots of stuff. We don't know how to do it. So this one, 325 million journeys. Okay, we're going to do just Yello taxi link for this, try and bring in 5 years. But what we can do is we can start to drive and see what is happening and actually have a nice interactive structure to it. But it's limited because we're using Pro, the file size has to stay below 2 gigabytes. Okay, so remember, right, 2 gigabytes, and I'm saying 10 megabytes for the direct query piece. There's an impact, there's a whole piece around actually the benefits, impact of what would happen doing this. Right? So let's see what we can do. But what I want to do is this isn't live because of the way it is. We could make it actually refresh now. We might well do that if there's but I think at the moment it doesn't necessarily make sense. But we'll probably do that with either this one or with the bikes. Take it, automate, or make it automatic and pull the data down and actually import it and then automatically have it served up. So what do you reckon then? Okay. The point of this is around, there's this management layer, this single pane of glass reporting. So everyone has one place to go to get all the insights, all the access that they need. Because of what you get with Power BI, people can still go connect an Excel spreadsheet to the model. They can interrogate the model with their own pivot tables, pivot charts if they want. You can't do across everything, okay? But we can do within that. So I can say, well, what's the taxi journey ridership looking like for this? But I can have a report at the top that brings things together. Potentially, there's things you can do if you link bits of models together, and now you can do more hybrid models. You can do things like that. We might touch on that towards the end. I don't know. We'll see. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that in terms of trying to build a hybrid model that links them all together. In terms of the concept of this video and the way this series, and the way we're going, I don't see the value of it because the point of this is about saying, how do you bring together the disparate departments across your business so that you've got that single pane of glass reporting? That's the question that we're trying to show you and demonstrate back to you the solution for. So we'll do that. And then, as I say, we'll probably investigate and do a deep dive where we dig in and have a look at the other side. More just as a kind of a curiosity, just to kind of answer those questions that you might have in a way that you wouldn't have had before. Okay. So hope you enjoyed that, right? If you think this is definitely what we want to see, would really like to use you guys. We've got questions, can you help us with our issues? Okay. office@geordieconsulting.co.uk. Send us an email, right? Drop us a line and we'll get in touch and we'll work through those solutions for you or with you even. Okay. For now though, stay safe, take care. Ta-da.